Hello, it's Randi Rhodes. Here's a clip from our show, and go to randyrhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.
Mary had a little man.
The fall. We believe that all men are created equal.
To the magnificent mosaic that is America.
From radio beacon to radio beacon. I have a dream today. Change has come to America.
Believe me.
Knock, knock. Who's there?
It's a figment of your imagination.
Randi Rhodes Show.
Turn up your mind.
It was an illegal investigation. It was started illegally.
They were spying on my campaign, and it went right up to the top.
This was an attempted coup. This was an attempted takedown of a president.
This was spying on my campaign, something that has never been done in the history of our country. This was an overthrow attempt at the presidency.
Everything about it was crooked.
Comey lies and leaks. He's a liar and he's a leaker.
Some of the people at the top were rotten apples. James Comey was one of them.
The entire thing has been a witch hunt.
It's a total witch hunt.
It is one great hoax. It's a Democrat hoax. I call it the Russian hoax. One of the great hoaxes.
Yeah, except none of that was true. The IG report is out, and all of that was, Donald Trump saying that his campaign was spied on, that they were trying to overthrow his election, that they were trying to remove him from office, the deep state. None of that is true. The Inspector General's report, the DOJ, Department of Justice Inspector General, found that none of that was true. That Manafort and Carter were already under investigation, before the Steele dossier was even given to the FBI. The counterintelligence investigation started because George Papadopoulos, 7 weeks before the FBI knew about the hacking. George Papadopoulos was told by a Russian intelligence agent that the Russians had hacked and that they had dirt on Hillary Clinton, and Papadopoulos got drunk and told it to an Australian diplomat who told it to the FBI. And the FBI then decided to open up a counterintelligence investigation into Russia and their hacking. It had nothing to do with the Steele dossier. It had nothing at all to do with it because the counterintelligence investigation was opened up in July. And the Steele dossier wasn't given to anybody until September. So somebody look at a calendar. July comes before, 2 months before September. It's just, listen, the president is a liar. The president is a fraud. The president is not worthy of the office. He doesn't deserve trust and honor. He doesn't deserve anything at all. Poor James Comey. I mean, it's like 2 years. Strzok, Page, all these people smeared in the Ukraine matter. Marie Yovanovitch, 33 years as a Foreign Service officer, 33 years just destroyed by this man and Giuliani and Mick Mulvaney and Congressman from Texas Pete Sessions, just destroyed. Her reputation destroyed. Her reputation sullied and ruined by the likes of this man. So James Comey was interviewed last night.
When you heard what the report said, do you think this is vindication?
It is. I mean, the FBI's had to wait 2 years while the president and his followers lied about the institution. Finally, the truth gets told. I hope it's not too late, but on all the important things, it tells the truth.
Do you worry it's going to get sort of missed or characterized in a different way? Obviously, the White House has already made a statement, which we'll talk about in a minute.
I worry it's not only going to get distorted, it's going to get missed by people in the rush of the other news we have. People have internalized the lies they've heard. Good people believe when a president says something. Mm-hmm. So they've heard treason, they've heard spying, they've heard informants in the campaign for 2 years. Are they going to pay attention now is my great worry.
I think I read that you'd said that your mother-in-law in a care facility who's 89 believed you were going to jail based on what she had seen on television.
Every time we would visit, she would express that worry, and I would tell her, look, it's all made up. There's zero chance of that. But she believes what she sees on television, and she's not unlike millions of others who are drinking this in for 2 years. So where does the FBI go to get its reputation back? We have to talk about this result.
So, listen, Comey's right. Trump already, decided to lie to the American people about what the Inspector General's report found. And what the Inspector General's report found was that the Russia investigation was opened properly, that it was predicated on a proper idea that the Russians had hacked into the DNC and that they were interfering in the 2016 election. It ended with the Russians being indicted by Robert Mueller for hacking, for cyber warfare that was directed by Vladimir Putin through his intelligence agency, the GRU, and that the stolen material was welcomed by the Trump campaign, encouraged by the Trump campaign. Russia, if you're listening, remember all that? And Chris Wray is not having any of it.
Was the launch, the origination of the FBI probe into Russian interference involving U.S. citizens lawfully authorized and pursued?
Well, I think it's important for the American people to know that when the FBI opens an investigation, it does so with proper predication, with proper authorization, based on the law and the facts and nothing else. And I think it's important that the Inspector General found that in this particular instance, the investigation was opened with appropriate predication and authorization.
What's the biggest takeaway and the most important takeaway from the report for you?
Well, I think there's a number of takeaways that are important. One, that we fully cooperated with this independent review. Two, that we fully accept its findings and recommendations. Three, that the Inspector General did not find political bias or improper motivations impacting the opening of the investigation or the decision to use certain investigative tools during the investigations.
Including FISA.
Including FISA.
So that is the director of the FBI endorsing the findings of the Inspector General's report, Michael Horowitz's report, that says that the investigation into the Russia cyber warfare conducted against the United States with a preference to elect Donald Trump was predicated on a proper set of facts. It was properly opened. It had the proper authorization. It followed the proper form of an FBI investigation, counterintelligence investigation. Here is the President of the United States yesterday.
And I was just briefed on it, and it's a disgrace what's happened with respect to the things that were done to our country. It should never again happen to another president. It is incredible, far worse than I would have ever thought possible. And it's an embarrassment to our country. It's dishonest. It's everything that a lot of people thought it would be, except far worse. So I'm going to get some very detailed briefings, but they are. It's a very sad day when I see that. It's a very sad day when a lot of people see that. They had known nothing. It was concocted. And you say what you want. That was a probably something that's never happened in the history of our country.
He never says what it is that should never happen to another president. He never says what it is that is a disgrace. He never identified, because this thing was 400 pages. He never read it. He doesn't know that it cleared McCabe and Strzok and Lisa Page and Comey. He has no idea what he's talking about. He just says stuff. Go to RandiRhodes.com for the whole thing and a podcast. Buy a stinking podcast.